This video is brought to you by Fallen Dominion Studios. Check out their website at fallendominionstudios.com. Hey there folks, welcome back to the Dice Odyssey. I'm Kaz, and today I'm going to be bringing to you a Kickstarter pre-production review of Wisdom of Solomon. Now this game is designed by Philip Dewberry. It's going to be published by Fantasia Games and Funhill Games, and Funhill Games is the same company that brought Kings of Israel to the table a few years back, and it's a reworking of Kingdom of Solomon from, I'm not quite sure how far back, but several years back I believe, and it's a worker placement game where you're actually trying to build up the kingdom of Israel in a sense, but mainly like the temple. You're trying to gain building plots, building cards. You're trying to actually build a network in the land of Israel to get more resources. You're going to be one of those governors who are actually helping spread Solomon's influence throughout his empire. Now, full disclosure, I am a Christian. I'm a believer in Christ. And there are, for me, you see all these games behind me of all different flavors and themes, but there's always one type of theme that I wish we had more great games for, and that's going to be games with a biblical theme. I just absolutely love anything that's got a Christian theme on it. Now, does that equate to a great game? I will tell you right now, rose-colored glasses come off when it comes to game mechanics, okay? So even if this has got a great theme on it that I absolutely will adore, doesn't mean that I'm going to like the game, okay? But did I end up liking this game? Well, let me go ahead and show you a little bit of how it's played, just kind of a general overview. Keep in mind, any of the rules I show you are going to be subject to change because this is a Kickstarter pre-production, and then also includes the production quality in and of itself. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you my final thoughts. I may not hit every single little tiny rule in the game. We're just going to give you an idea of how to play. Number one, you're going to get your little houses, your customs houses there, and your workers, okay? And you're going to go according to player count and all that. You're going to change those things up. And then you're going to put out these shortage tiles all over the board, okay? They're going to kind of look like that, all right? And that's just showing little areas where places are not going to give you, resources that you need. You're also going to receive 2 fortune cards. You're going to choose one and put the other away, and that's what these are going to look like. And they give you different things, like for example, this says wedding. It says spend any 3 resources to gain 10 favor, which favor is going to be your points in this game. I mean, the ultimate goal of the game is to get the most favor or points in the game. Person with the most wins, all right? The way that you're going to trigger the end game is you're going to get the all of your customs houses out first, okay? Whoever gets that first triggers the end of the game. Then everybody gets to go ahead and take their last turn in that year, because the game is played out over basically a year's time. Or you're going to go ahead and take all of these temple tiles, and once they're all completely taken by every player, that's also the other way a end of game is triggered, for example. Now on this side, you're going to have different areas that you're going to be able to go to and put your workers in terms of the actual kingdom of Israel, like Jerusalem itself. And then you're going to have the different provinces or the land of Israel where you can actually go and create a customs house network. Put your workers down to gain resources that are based out there, and they show you basically on each little province what they produce. Now the game is played out over a series of years, okay, and 1 year is basically however many workers everybody has. Once they've played them all, that's the end of the year, and you do cleanup and things like that and go into the next year, which is the next round. Now, at the start of the game, you're all going to start with 10 favor, and favor is basically not only your points, but also your revenue, okay? It's going to be your money, in a sense. And you're all going to start with 10, and that's how you're going to start buying off resources and so on and so forth. Here at the trader, I can take 1 cube of any color, okay, and I can trade that into the bank over there for 2 cubes of any other color, except for exotic cubes. It even tells you the blue cubes. The exotic cubes are going to be more wild cubes. They can, to take the place of anything out on the board in that way. But the market itself, I could go here, I could place my worker, and I can buy or sell up to 3 cubes, okay? So if I wanted to buy 2, and then say I wanted to sell a different one, I'm going to go according to what the market prices are showing, okay? The cool thing about selling is I can place them on any number, even if it's not covered up. It doesn't have to be the next one in the line of the same color. I can put it up in 3, even though the 2's open, okay? And then you're going to go ahead and pay or receive favor depending on what you buy or sell. Now in this spot, as you see this little symbol right here, that's showing that I can play a fortune card that I already currently have in my hand. If I wanted to go ahead and play this, spend any 3 resources to gain 10 favor, I could do that, okay? And I can do that each time I put a worker down in either that trader location or that merchant location, the market area, okay? And that's how you're going to basically play these favor cards. Now, one thing to keep in mind about favor cards, these also count up to 2 victory points at the end of the game each, all right? So these have a dual ability. Now, if I go over here to the foreman, I'll be able to place a worker down, okay? And at that time, I'm going to go ahead and pay the resource cost on any of these building cards that are in those slots. So for example, if I choose the harbor, this one's saying if I discard a fortune card, I can choose any 3 cubes that I want to get, okay? And I pay this resource cost to actually buy this building from that slot. Now you see this number here and this favor number here, I get 10 points just for buying this card. So that's another way you can gain favor and get a building for yourself to go to. And only you can go here and place a worker on this slot whenever it comes to your turn, unless somebody has a fortune card that says they can also play on there. So again, it's a cool benefit. And there's also some cards here that give you passive benefits over time. So they don't have a worker function, but they're like, hey, if you do this, you'll get this and different kinds of rewards. Now, if you go to the foreman, you not only get the opportunity to buy one of these, but then you can also, if you choose, put a customs house out on the land of Israel. Let's go over there now. Let's say I wanted to go ahead and put a customs house out here in Gilead, okay? Well, I'm doing that, and then if I have a road tile available, I can now attach that to anywhere that'll connect into the next province, you know, adjacent province, basically. As you can see, there's a lot of roads already. There's some workers already placed. There's even a couple of different types of customs houses in different places, but I don't have one connected to Judah, and it produces gold. So why don't we do that now, okay? I'm going to show you kind of in general how the networking works. So now I have my customs house there. My turn would be over, but let's say for the sake of argument that now it's my turn again later on, all right? And we played a little bit more, and now I have an option of putting a worker anywhere out on the field. Now keep in mind, I don't have to have a customs house in an area to place a worker. If I wanted to, I could go ahead and place here and get gold from the land of Judah, okay? But let's say, for example, I want to go ahead and I want to place in Gilead, okay? Now, if I place there, I've got a customs house there, and anywhere I have a road that's connected to the place that I just placed, and then maybe subsequent places, because again, it's like a network. It continually goes unless different things block it. I'm going to gain resources from Judah. I get some gold. I'm going to get wood. Okay, I'm not going to get anything from Jezreel because it's got a shortage tile there. I would collect resources from Gesher, even if somebody else had a customs house there. As long as I have a customs house there with them, I can gain. I would not collect from Bashan, even though I have a road attached because somebody else put a worker there, so they blocked me from getting it, right? And the same goes over here. I don't have a customs house over here, so I wouldn't gain anything, and somebody else has put a customs house in there and a worker, so they blocked me efficiently. So I would gain from everywhere that I am not blocked, and that can lead to a ton of resources. So now I've got the holy places that I can go to, and these are extraordinarily powerful. Not only is the first person that lays down there going to get a first player token, so they're actually going to become the first player next, but then they have different things that they can gather, okay? If I play here at Ark of the Covenant, I get 3 fortune cards. If I play here at the menorah, which is a very powerful way to keep other players in check, whoever's got 7 or more cubes, I can actually choose somebody and take half the cubes from them. Ouch, right? So yeah, altar of incense. I get an exotic cube, a wild card cube, so to speak, and then I also get 8 points in favor. And then the table of the presence is going to give me a whole assortment of resources in just one shot. So very powerful, but there is a catch, okay? You could make that your only turn in one round, but the fact is you're going to have to place every single one of your remaining workers in whatever spot you choose, okay? So even if it's your last turn, you still have to place one at the very least, or if you had 3 left or 4 or however many, you're going to have to play whatever you got left in that spot, and that will effectively end your round. Now let's go ahead and pretend this is a 3-player game. Whoever else plays in another spot, well, now the last remaining player in whatever player count game you've got who hasn't placed doesn't get a chance to place, right? So whoever's left doesn't get a chance. Everybody got there before them. Now, the way the Levite works, the temple area, is you place a worker there. and you're going to either pay stone, wood, or food, okay, to remove a temple tile, or you got to pay gold and copper. It's either or, right? And at the same time, let's say, people have been playing there. Now, let's say another player comes. Not only do they have to pay those original costs, but now they have to pay a resource of whatever kind for every extra worker that's already there. And also, when you go there, you get to pull another fortune card. Okay, that goes into your supply. And that's basically, in general, how you're going to play Wisdom of Solomon. Whoever has the most favor at the end of the game wins. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I wanted to get into this game because of the theme, but I wasn't 100% certain I was going to really enjoy it. I like worker placement, and I was concerned that this was going to be another run-of-the-mill worker placement game, which is, in a sense, is fun because it had that biblical theme on it. And I was like, hey, a biblical theme, it's got, good mechanics that I'm already accustomed to and I really enjoy. That's fine. I'm going to be fine with it. It'll be, a decent game. But when they introduced, for me, that networking mechanic that you may have seen in the overview, where you're able to actually put customs houses out in the land of Israel, where you're gaining resources, and you possibly have the ability to gain a ton of resources, depending on how strong your network is with all the roads going between the lands. You put one worker down and you're able to gain like anywhere between 5 to 10 or more resources at one time. That sent me over the moon on this game, and we played this game multiple times. Pretty much everybody at the table thought that was an amazingly cool mechanic too. And the way that they set it up here, amazingly fun job of giving me something other than, okay, I'm going to go put a worker here, get a resource, and, I'm going to build this. No, I love the fact that I had the whole land of Israel. It was like on the right side of the board, and it's not something that, you'd immediately think to go to. You're just thinking go to these worker spots like that foreman where you can build more building plots. It had a kind of a slight Lord of Waterdeep feel where you actually build your own buildings, but in this sense, 99% of the time, you go to your own building and get the resources from them yourself, or you have passive abilities, right? Like if you go somewhere, you get a discount on how many resources you have to pay to get a building and things like that. But when you get to that land of Israel spot over here, and you actually have this entire network of customs houses, it becomes a race with the other players, because at some point, if you get too many customs houses on different spots in the land of Israel, then you're going to be cut off from a certain area of that network, right? And you're not going to be gaining resources, especially if it doesn't have like a customs house area on it. Like, for example, the land of Judah that produces, I think it's gold. All you're doing is running roads through there that anybody can use, right? As long as they got customs houses in the provinces around it. But if somebody puts a worker there, that shuts it off for you. And that is really interesting. And it kept us all interested in how we're going to build up this network. How fast are we all going to put customs houses out? And also the fact that the customs houses also trigger the end of the game, as well as, whenever you clean off all the temple tiles that you gain. This was probably the most amazing, interesting part of the game for me. Now, because of this, it made all of this even more worthwhile. All the other stuff that you were doing in the game. And here's the other kicker. If you go to the menorah, as you saw in there, and you've been building up a network, and let's say another opponent has been building up a network, and they place a person down, and they gain like, 7, 8 resources, right? You go there, they're in big trouble if you all of a sudden decide to go here and choose them to get half their resources if they have 7 or higher, right? It's a very cool balancing mechanic. It's also it's almost like you're pushing your luck on this side, because at any point in time you place down, you get a ton of resources. Somebody could go here and, you know what, I'm just going to end my turn early and take all your stuff, and they just banked off you. Again, I really loved the fortune cards. Okay, I love that with the fortune cards you might be able to go into places that you wouldn't be able to go before and use other people's buildings, right? People that built buildings for themselves to gain more resources, you might be able to go and use their abilities over there, right? You might be able to gain more resources, right? It's like blessings from God and things like that. Oh, and I also love the fact that you get points off of these fortune cards, right? So let's say, you've been gaining a ton of fortune cards the whole game. We had a friend of ours who actually had like, a stack of, I think 6 or 7 fortune cards, netted him, I want to say it was 14 points, so 7 fortune cards, because they're 2 points apiece. at the end of the game. So even if you weren't able to play all those cards, you still get them for points, right? So you don't feel like you're wasting your time and wasting, you know, all these cards at the end of the game. You still got an opportunity to score off them. I really enjoyed every aspect of this game. Production quality, it's pre-production, but even then, it wasn't bad, right? The cards were high quality. They felt great in the hand. They almost feel completely finished, right? They may very well be. I did enjoy the artwork. I love the minimalist artwork on the fortune cards. Again, everything is a great package, and I just love the tension in this game. At the beginning of the game, you're really going to be going, man, resources are at an all-time premium, because, and what I mean is, it's such a shortage of resources at the top. I'm not talking about in the merchant's office so much. I'm talking about at the top where you're actually able to gain them, because it keeps everything tense, right? It forces you to go to that merchant to get stuff. It forces you to go to the land of Israel and try to build that network, even if you're not gaining resources off of it. So the game does kind of push you in a certain direction, but at some point it gives you so much freedom to just do what you want, right? And at all times this game, there was a strong tension of, oh man, I better get on the ball and really plan this thing out. And I will say this, I liked how the cubes and everything were short, like you had a kind of a shortage feel to them at the beginning of the game. But as people begin to buy more buildings and begin to get more of their engine rolling, then yeah, they become more plentiful, especially when they start paying to go to the temple, because the temple requires so many cubes off of you. I love it when you get the discount cards to help with that, you know. So again, there's many ways to mitigate the shortage issue, especially with the discount cards that you get. Another thing I really liked about that temple situation, it really is like, I hate to say it in this, but it's almost like the lottery, right? It's you're sitting there, and because those temple tiles are face down, you don't know how many points you're getting. It's between 6 and 10 points on each tile, right? You are taking a chance going to that temple. You get the cool thing is you get a fortune card with that, but you are going, okay, I'm going to pick this tile. Oh, please be 10. Oh, it's a 7, but hey, it's still points. So at the end of the game, you've got those points to add up. They're all face down. Nobody knows how many points you have. So again, there's a high tension that keeps everybody engaged. Now, is there any perceived negatives in the game? Not too many. I would say that in general, it's going to be more player negative than game negative. The one thing I really liked about it was the turns went right really quickly, okay? The only time that there was real slowdown in the game is when they actually built their network right. It took some time to count out those cubes, right? Now, again, that's going to slow the game down, because there is a little bit of analysis paralysis with that, because you're trying to figure out where all the network go, how the roads work going to those networks, right? So yeah, there was a little bit of game slowdown at times, but ultimately the games themselves were very brief. I don't see it getting boring. Not at one point, no point in that game was I bored or looking at my watch or going, if I had a watch, or going, hey man, I want to play something else. Nobody was feeling that way. We were all engaged the entire time. This is the kind of game I want a strong worker placement game to be. And on top of that, this is the kind of standard I feel like all biblical games should be. Check the Kickstarter out. This thing is so worth your time. We'll have a link down below when the Kickstarter goes live. I think it's going live right after Memorial Day. Please check it out. Wisdom of Solomon. I don't think you'll regret this. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the Dice Odyssey videos. I'm Kaz again, and hey, how many biblical theme games have you played? Are you into worker placement? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you again. You have a blessed day, and game away.